Hello YouTube, Jonathan800 here. The Hearts of Iron 4 Discord server posted a community challenge to conquer Europe as Spain any way you want, as long as it was Iron Man. I decided to turn off law resistance and play Republican Spain to see how it goes. The Spanish Civil War started extremely early on March 17th, where even the first guy who leads Spain doesn't even resign. With the country fractured into civil war, Jose Diaz took charge of Republican Spain to deal with the coup. The Republicans started nerfing the civil war by not having troops spawning on the front line while the Nationalists do. I did the questionable decision to strategically redeploy them, which did bring me to the front faster, but I had no org. With the front line starting to break, I knew I had to abandon Catalonia and a portion in the south for more defendable terrain. After the front line stabilized, I cut the Nationalists in half while encircling other units. I then focused on cleaning up the south, which made the Nationalists hemorrhage even more divisions. With the Nationalists crippled, a large offensive was launched against the north, with the Nationalists capitulating soon after. Despite being a war-torn nation, Jose Diaz wanted to unite the Iberian Peninsula by first taking Portugal. This war proved useful as the lend-lease I got from the Axis members would help in the next wars. Iberia wasn't liberated yet, as Gibraltar was still in the hands of a foreign bourgeoisie government. The Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact was signed between the Germans and Comintern nations, which in my headcanon also included Spain, which divided Poland between the Germans and Soviets and let Spain have Gibraltar. With the German invasion of Poland came the Spanish liberation of Gibraltar and the Soviets invading Poland from the east. The war appeared to be quick and decisive as French troops sparsely defended the south and barely any of Africa. Spanish troops rushed into France proper, and as a renewed offensive where Bordeaux was about to take place, the French government surrendered, leaving Britain alone. After trying to get naval superiority for over a year, sea line took place with Vichy French troops storming the beaches. I reinforced their undermanned invasion and took out the Allies. News of a German invasion of the Comintern was heard, and to counter it, Jose Diaz promoted 5th columns in Germany and France. Not a moment later, the Germans broke the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, which proved disastrous for the Soviets as their front lines instantly shattered. Even the Spanish front saw troops being forced to fall back as the Germans had control of the skies. A year after war broke out, communist agitators in France managed to coup the government and tried to free France from tyranny. This disrupted a portion of the front lines and eliminated many French troops. Bordeaux was soon liberated from the Vichy French, with more offensives being done to push north. Eventually, the Japanese declared war on the Soviets, which I promptly ignored as I did not need a second enemy to deal with. Me ignoring the Japanese proved to be a blessing and a curse, as the rest of the Comintern capitulated to both the Axis and Co-Prosperity Sphere, leaving me to fend off against the Axis alone. This also resulted in all of my troops getting encircled due to the French Commune getting annexed by Vichy France. A quick response from troops on the front lines stabilized the situation, but slowed down the offensives I was doing at that moment. The reason this was a good thing was because all of Europe was now able to be taken for the peace conference. Gradually, more and more of France was being liberated, and the first nuclear weapon was detonated above Frankfurt after being dropped by a Spanish bomber. This lowered the stability of Germany enough to make a communist uprising seem like a way to prevent further death and destruction. Afterwards, a naval invasion of southern France knocked the Vichy French from the war and exposed the Italian flank. The Italians then did what Italians do best and failed to defend their country. They failed to defend it fast enough to the point where there was no second faction in the Italian Civil War. Germany then saw a massive communist uprising. What also didn't help was that before, every city in Brandenburg became leveled by nuclear weapons, and supply hubs along the front were also nuked. This resulted in a portion of the German front to lack supplies, which the motorized then exploited. Green air over Benelux also resulted in the carpet bombing of the Dutch countryside that eliminated all resistance there. This proved too much for the Germans, as soon after, Spanish troops captured the rubble that was Wilhelmshaven, Hamburg, Frankfurt, and Berlin. Soon after, the Germans unconditionally surrendered, ending the war that lasted over 6 years. The cleanup of Europe began with the invasion of communist Germany, which Diaz did not like, but he knew he had to ensure German resistance was taken care of. The remaining bourgeoisie governments were also eventually liberated, with Mexico having to be dealt with too. After all the blood spilt, Europe was being overseen by Republican Spain, and Jose Diaz's wild ride could finally come to an end. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, you know the deal, and this is Jonathan 800 signing out.